going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Just want to say thank you guys for joining us as a part of our weekly live shows where we go live every Wednesday and break down the latest around your favorite football team, the Minnesota Vikings. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let's start it off like we always do, showing off your purple pride down in the comments section. You guys could give me a skull down below as my man Boris was getting on us for running a couple minutes late. It's been a hectic day here at the Chat Sports Studios, but we are here, and I am super excited to break it all down. And we're talking about Sam Darnold, possible wide receiver 3 option that the Vikings could sign. And also, I'm going to be explaining why I do think the Vikings are going to put the NFL on notice this upcoming season. And then we'll wrap today's show up with a mailbag. But shout out to EV, Ignite Edits, Rocky in the chat, Dark Time News, Summer Collier, what's good? Shout out to you, Summer, for tuning in. EV saying Patrick Siepman looks like Byron Buxton. I don't necessarily see that, but shout out to Byron Buxton, one of the most electric players in the MLB, no doubt about it. Boris in the chat giving us a skull as well. Yeah, good day to be a Vikings fan. Alec Lewis dropped a pretty cool article breaking down Sam Darnold and his offseason just progression and how he's looked. And, he's absolutely dominated the offseason program. So, that's going to be fun to break that down. Joey Tana in the chat as well. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ignite saying, who is our best defensive player? If I had to call best defensive player on this team, probably Jonathan Grenard. That's where I would go. Or maybe Josh Metellus. I don't know. Jonathan Grenard too. Yeah, he's a stud. The Vikings got a bunch of B+ players. I don't really think they have any blue chips on that side of the football, but maybe somebody steps up this year and changes my thought on that. But speak about Sam Darnold. I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. With the new Madden coming out in about a month or 2 months or so, I want you guys to give Sam Darnold a Madden rating. As Rocky is saying here, the kicker from Alabama looking good. Yeah, apparently he lit it up during the minicamp period, so I fully expect him to be the kicker this year for the Vikes instead of John Parker Romo. So that was an update there on the kicking situation. But you guys let me know. Give Sam Darnold a Madden rating. If I had to, I'd probably go a little 77, 76 overall heading into the year. But my, I don't want to call it bold prediction, but my prediction for Sammy D is he'll end the season at around an 82, 83 overall. But Don't Care Bear giving him an 87. MYAS is giving him a 98. High praise from your side there. Don't Care Bear giving him an 87. Force giving him 84. Joey giving an 80. Yeah, if I want to be realistic right now, I'd probably say 75. Yeah, just like SKOL Nation said. 75, 77, around there. So, but I definitely do think he's going to up his Madden rating, in the second half or after the season does wrap up. But, I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday. So, J.J. McCarthy was throwing out the first pitch. It was actually him and Dallas Turner threw out the first pitch of the Minnesota Twins game, and he absolutely smoked the first pitch. He was rocking the shades, backwards hat. He had the Twins jersey on, rocking the number 9. He looked good, but, he got up there, first pitch. He absolutely smoked it in the ground. So I got a question for you guys. Are you concerned after seeing J.J. McCarthy's first pitch? Obviously kind of joking here, but him and Dallas Turner, 2 of the worst first pitches I have ever seen out of athletes when they do that. So, I don't know. I just kind of want to have some fun here. I don't know if you guys saw the video. We posted it as a short early on today, so it is on the page. If you guys want to check that out, it's pretty funny. JJ was joking about it after, but, obviously having some fun with that one. But Joseph giving Sammy D and 99. SKOL Nation saying an 81 after the season. And Samik Sheehy is saying, what is Dallas Turner and J.J. McCarthy's ceiling? Dallas Turner, his ceiling is like a Von Miller type of player. We heard Brian Flores compare him to Von this offseason, and, it makes a lot of sense. He's got super good bend coming off the edge, super athletic. Isn't that, prototypical edge where it's like the Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter, where, they got more power in their moves, where, Dallas Turner plays a more finesse style of football, and he uses his athleticism to get to the quarterback. So I'd probably go Von Miller. And J.J. McCarthy, his ceiling is like a better Alex Smith. Like, I keep going back to Alex Smith as like my pro comp for him, but I think he's got better athleticism than Smith did coming out. So those would be my 2 kind of ceiling comparisons for the 2 Vikings first-round picks. But we are in a actually Super Chat battle. So our Bears Now channel went live a couple days ago, and they raised $154 in Super Chats. If you guys want to help me out, make me walk around these Chat Sports studios with, my chest out a little more, I would appreciate it if you guys could send a Super Chat, help support today's show, and maybe, just maybe, we can top Bears Now in Super Chats. 155 is the magic number. So if you guys could help support the show, sending a Super Chat is a great way to do so. But then in about 40 minutes or so, we are going to be having a mailbag as well. So if you guys send in a Super Chat of any dollar amount that asks a question, you guys will lead our mailbag. But if you guys just want to get your question up on screen, hashtag Vikings is the best way to do so. So Ignite Eddick saying, will JJ come in mid-season? Use hashtag Vikings, and we will get your question up on screen. EV saying, I had Dallas Turner, comp was TJ Watt. He was a beast in college. Yeah, I just think TJ is a little more of a power pass rusher where, Dallas Turner, obviously, he's using his speed. He's using his bend to get to the quarterback. So, I like that comp, but I would go a little more Von Miller direction there. But Erica Point saying, Skol from New Mexico. Skol, Mr. Pat. Shout out to you. Appreciate you tuning in. But, yeah, mailbag coming up. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get on the show. But coming up on today's live show, Sam Darnold. He's been dominating the offseason program, so I want to get you guys, the reports on that. And then I think the Vikings are going to shock a lot of people, and they're going to blindside the NFL. So I'm going to be going over 5 reasons on why I think the Vikings will be the biggest kind of shock here in the NFL this upcoming season. And like I said, mailbag coming up, hashtag Vikings. And if you guys are ready to start, ready to get underway, if you guys could like today's video. If we could get 4 more likes, then we could get it started on today's weekly live show. SKOL Nation in the chat saying Dallas Turner is like Cam Hayward or Joey Bosa. I like those a whole lot more. Yeah, no doubt. I just, I swear, I just can't get over this Von Miller comparison where he's, oh, wow. Okay. I got some pretty cool news I want to share with you guys. Wow, that's awesome. So J.J. McCarthy's high school coach, I reached out to him, who was also my high school coach, and he was on Paul Allen's 9 to Noon show early on today, and I just hit him up saying, would you like to come on Vikings Now? So pretty cool news. We're going to have Tim Rackey, JJ's high school coach from his freshman to junior year of high school, on the program. So that's awesome. Shout out to Coach Rackey. Can't wait to chop it up with him and just, reconnect with him. But, yeah, some breaking news here. So definitely stay tuned for that. That's going to be freaking sweet. Yeah, hit that sub button if you guys want to make sure you guys catch that interview. So, yeah, that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. Shout out to Mr. Rackey for getting back to me on that. So, wow, that's sweet. Yeah, he was on 9 to Noon earlier today, but now we're going to have him on Vikings Now. Hopefully, maybe this week, maybe next week. Maybe we'll make it a part of our live show. But, how about this? I'll make this deal. If you guys want to ask J.J. McCarthy's high school coach a question, I'll do a $20 super chat. I'll make sure to ask him your question. It's going to be it's going to be limited, obviously, because I'm not sure how much time. We'll obviously have to work that out. But, yeah, that's pretty breaking news here on the channel coming in right now. So, hey, $20 super chat. You guys can ask Coach Rackey whatever he wants about JJ and him growing up. That's sweet. That's sweet. Shout out to EV. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, shout out to Coach Rackey for getting back to me on that. So, yeah, we'll have that interview, I'm hoping, sometime this week. Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. So hopefully you guys, if you guys want to stay tuned for that and get involved, maybe ask them whatever. That'd be awesome. Obviously, it's got to be appropriate, and I got to have the final call on that. But hey, if you guys want to get the question up there, whatever you guys want, $20 super chat, we'll throw it on the show. But we're gonna dive into Sam Darnold, his offseason work, and then also the Vikings possibly signing this wide receiver that just got hey, there we go, $20 super chat, no question, but coming in from my man Skolger on Twitter. Skolger, if you could hit me up if you actually do want a question there. Yeah, his name's Tim Rackey, Coach Rackey, Skol Coach Rackey. We'll be having him on the show hopefully here shortly, but shout out to him, man. That's what's up. That's going to be sweet. That is going to be sweet. So show Skolger some love down in the chat, as now we're only $130 away from passing Bears Now in super chats, but that is awesome. But Skolger, really, really do appreciate it. But we're going to be diving into Sam Darnold and a wide receiver 3 that the Vikings could sign right now. And just if you're ready, let's get into it. Sam Darnold has been absolutely dominating the Vikings offseason so far. So we'll be diving into some reports we had on him coming in from Alec Lewis. And then also with I don't want to call it a glaring need at the wide receiver 3 spot, but, you could definitely make an argument that is definitely on the top positions of need for this football team. Could the Vikings be signing Denzel Mims, former second-round pick? He was just released by the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk about that on the second half of today's show. But first off, I actually want to give a huge thank you to everybody who has hit that sub button so far this offseason. I was looking at some of the analytics and looking at all of our channels across Chat Sports. What channel has picked up the most subscribers here in the month of June? Actually is Vikings Now by Chat Sports. So credit to all you guys. And hey, if you guys haven't already, hit that sub button. I'm trying to double up Eagles Now in subscribers this month. So if you guys could, lock us in and make us your go-to Vikings YouTube channel. So let's break down Sam Darnold's offseason domination on today's show. What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman. And Sam Darnold has been absolutely lighting it up. Dating back to minicamp, dating back to OTAs, it has been all positivity coming out from the Sam Darnold front. And Alec Lewis was writing an article, I think it came out a couple of days ago, just talking about how Sam Darnold has performed. And this was a quote from it. He said, Sam Darnold looked sharp and may have only thrown one interception in mandatory minicamp. He also carried on in this, and he said that interception did come because the receiver ran the wrong out. So technically, Sam Darnold didn't throw any interceptions. And, this has been a trend throughout Sam Darnold's career. You date back to the Jets, the Panthers, the 49ers. He has always performed at a very high level in these mini camps, in these OTA periods. It's just always coming down to, can his game translate to game days on Sundays? Obviously, have to wait and see on that one. But Alec Lewis was raving about him. Every Vikings beat reporter that has been at practices has been raving about him. And then also head coach Kevin O'Connell had some kind words for Sam Darnold when he said this. He said, just from a standpoint of his ability to absorb our offense, go out and execute with a lot of guys when he steps into the huddle. He's stepping in with guys that have been in the system for 2 years. And we're not really slowing down from a standpoint of how we want to kind of install our offense. And I fully believe this. This will be a career year for Sam Darnold. Clearly he has not lived up to the 3rd overall hype when he was selected by the New York Jets. But I promise you, this year will be the best statistical year for Sam Darnold. He will have the best win-loss record of his career because of the support system that Minnesota is going to offer him. And also, the guy's 26 years old. I feel like people just think of Sam Darnold. They're like, oh, he's a 30-year-old journey quarterback. He's got nothing left to prove. I actually completely disagree. I don't think he's had a fair chance to get a true opportunity to be productive in the NFL just yet in his career. So I think this year, big things are going to happen for Sam Darnold. And I just can't wait to see him, get out there on Sundays and ball out for the purple and gold. And then also this. I think the Vikings offense, just as a whole this season, is going to be much better because of Sam Darnold. I mean, the Vikings last year, it's not like they were a disaster offensively where they couldn't generate any points. They couldn't generate any, momentum offensively. I think if you look at these offensive ranks, 22nd in points per game. You're assuming that's going to be better. Yards per game, it was still 10th. Plays per game at 17th. Yards per play at 10th. And then this was the kicker. And this is where Sam Darnold's really going to need to take that next step. Turnovers per game, the Vikings were terrible. And I'm not saying this is all on the quarterback. As we know, fumbles were a major issue for this ball club last season. But he averaged as a team, we averaged 2 turnovers a game. If we could somehow get that to 1.5, 1.7, we're going to see more wins. And with all this, all of these ranks, with Kirk Cousins, Jaron Hall, Josh Dobbs, and Nick Mullins all playing quarterback, I bet you with a consistent starter at quarterback, these will all be a lot higher than they were last year. And now listen, my take. I think Sam Darnold will start at least 18 games for the Vikings this season. What you may be saying, well, there's only 17 games in the regular season. I understand. My bold prediction is Sam Darnold leads the Vikings to a 10-7 record. They get to the wild card round of the NFL playoffs, and then who knows? Maybe it's going to be 18 games. Maybe it's going to be 19 games. But I got a feeling we're going to be seeing 18 games of Sam Darnold starting for the Minnesota Vikings. But not only Kevin O'Connell, not only Alec Lewis, but even J.J. McCarthy was talking about Sam Darnold and just how he's been as a mentor. And he said, I grew up watching Sam Darnold my entire life. being able to just sit there and watch him, watch Nick, watch Jaron. It's not what they say to me, it's what they do. And I'm just being a sponge and observing them and eventually, hopefully, one day surpassing them. But right now, they're just phenomenal human beings who are sharing their wisdom with me, and I can't thank them enough and can't wait for training camp. And, I think this mentality matters more than the common NFL fan thinks. Like, up in between the ears, that carries you as a quarterback in comparison to your athleticism. I was thinking about the Patriots, for example, and I'm not comparing J.J. McCarthy to Tom Brady, but there were a number of coaches who left the Patriots system and tried to replicate what Tom Brady did in New England because they looked at him, the physical attributes, the arm talent wasn't at that top 1%. He was just middle of the pack. But what you can't replicate is in between the ears. You can't replicate what J.J. McCarthy has up there, and I think that mentality of him being patient, him trusting the guys who have been there, even though JJ's probably sitting there thinking, oh, I'm way better than Nick Mullins. I'm way better than Jaron Hall. He probably even thinks he's better than Sam Darnold at this point. But what he's doing, he's being a sponge, and he's just working on the process and not so focused on the outcome. And I actually do expect the competition at QB1 to ramp up during camp. I did just say Sam Darnold's going to start 18 games, and that's what I think is going to happen. But I bet you we get a report during training camp that J.J. McCarthy is putting pressure on Sam Darnold as potentially the starter for Week 1 versus the New York Giants. We'll obviously have to wait and see how that plays out. But you guys let me know. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think J.J. is going to take the reins earlier than I do. But let me know. Who will start more games for the Minnesota Vikings? Give me an SD for Sam Darnold or give me a J.J. for J.J. McCarthy. Coming up next, I do want to talk about the idea of the Vikings possibly signing Denzel Mims, as he was a very talented receiver coming out of Baylor, former second-round pick, so could he be the wide receiver 3? Give you guys my thoughts here in a second. But first off, got to tell you about this sweet deal we have going on right now. And if you guys want to get your J.J. McCarthy jerseys today, head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. I'll put this link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. So there is no excuse for you not to be wearing J.J. McCarthy's jersey on game day at US Bank Stadium. Also, a little programming alert. J.J. McCarthy's high school coach is going to be coming on the program for an interview, so also make sure you guys are subscribed. And, hey, go ahead and get his jersey right now. Chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Get those jerseys today. So let's break down what happened. So Denzel Mims, he was released by the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad yesterday. And, he was on the practice squad the entire year last season. And he's definitely had a journey throughout his NFL career. And, dating back, he actually was with Sam Darnold for 1 year or 2 years with the New York Jets when he was a second-round pick in 2020. Spent the first 3 seasons of his career there. Then he was traded to the Detroit Lions in the summer of 23. Then he was cut by the Lions just a month later, joined the Steelers practice squad last season, stayed there for the entire year, and then he was just cut by the Steelers in June, which was yesterday. But, Denzel Mims in his NFL career has not lived up to the hype of being a second-round pick. No doubt about it. But still accumulated 676 yards, only started 15 games, had a 7.3 yards per target, 16.1 yards per catch, and he is a absolute freak athlete. When I saw him at Baylor, I literally was feeling like I was watching a Chris Carter type of receiver, like just the way they move, the way they, obviously, different. Chris Carter did at a way, higher level than him, but that was the kind of vibe I got from Denzel Mims. And, with right now how the Vikings wide receiver room is shaking out, wide receiver 3 is such a funny topic to me because, I feel like some fans are, freaking out where it's like, oh, the Vikings need a wide receiver 3. They need this. They need Trent Sherfield, to step up. But, the Vikings have so many guys, and in my opinion, they got 10 guys, that could compete to make the roster. Obviously, you got the big 3 on the left of the screen, and Jefferson, Addison, and Powell. Trent Sherfield being that more run-blocking, wide receiver. Jalen Naylor, stinks. He was dealing with an illness during minicamp, but I thought he was going to step up. You got the Jackson brothers, Tristan and Lucky. Right now, I got him at 6 and 7. Thayer Thomas, Kevin O'Connell was raving about him. From his jump from years 1 to year 2. And then you got Malik Knowles. And you got Ty James from Mercer. They have guys that can come in here and they can compete for this wide receiver 3 job. And I would bring him in. I would bring in Denzel Mims. Why not just add more juice to training camp? Why not just add more competition? And if you rolled in the Vikings training camp, and even though you didn't have a clear-cut option at wide receiver 3, if you had Mims, Sherfield, Naylor, Powell, all 4 of those guys battle it out for wide receiver 3 and just say the best man wins, they will all up each other's game because they will feel the sense of competition. And, I think that's a beautiful part of life. When you have somebody you're working with, when you have somebody you're competing against, it just brings more out of you. It's just natural. It's human nature. So I say, why not? Bring him in, sign him to a vet minimum deal, and just see what you have, because he was picked in the second round for a reason. But you guys let me know, would you sign Denzel Mims? Give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass down in the comment section. Very curious to see what you guys have to say. Some people are split on if the Vikings should bring in another wide receiver to battle it out there. But also, guys, give me a follow on Twitter. That's the handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys could, follow me on X, follow me on Twitter. I would really appreciate it if you guys could do so. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Little Sam Darnold hype, little wide receiver 3 talk, and just super excited to get training camp going here in about 5 weeks from now. But we see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes. Alrighty, you guys let me know. Would you sign Denzel Mims? Give me an S for sign or a P for pass down in the comments section. Rocky saying SD. Ignite Edit saying S. Eric Lapointe saying P. Shot the EV in the chat as well. All of you guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. But yeah, here's a look at our Super Chat battle. I am going to be interviewing, actually, J.J. McCarthy's high school coach here on the show, hopefully sometime in the next 2 weeks. I said it. You guys can, if you guys have a question you're dying to ask, if you guys send us a Super Chat of $20 or more, we'll get your question up. And obviously, if I approve of it, we could ask him it. You guys could, ask him a question on J.J. McCarthy, which would be awesome. But also, if you guys want to help us just beat Bears now in Super Chats, I would really appreciate it. We got $20 from my man Skolger, so shout out to you. But hey, see if we could top 154 and stick it to those Chicago Bears. But if you guys do got a question, if you guys want to ask me, Mailbag coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. Super chatting or using hashtag Vikings in the chat is the best way to do so. So if you guys could get a question in there, hashtag Vikings or super chat, I would really appreciate it. But that mailbag's coming up in about 20 minutes or so. Shout out to everybody in the chat. But we're going to be getting a little hype segment right now, talking about why I think the Vikings are going to blindside the NFL this upcoming year. And let's just break it down. Are the Vikings going to absolutely blindside the rest of the NFL this season? What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. Super fun show we're going to be breaking down today is why I think the Vikings are becoming one of the most disrespected teams amongst NFL media members this offseason. And these two right here, I think are going to put the NFL on notice this upcoming season. But before we dive into that, guys, more competition with our Bears channel here at Chat Sports. They got 576 likes on their last video. I'm trying to beat it. I'm trying to double it. So if you guys could drop a like on today's show, if we could somehow hit 1,000, that would be really, really awesome. So if you guys could and haven't already, drop a like on today's show. But right now, so the disrespect, how it started. The Vikings win total, according to all the bookmakers out west, according to the smart minds in Las Vegas, set the Vikings win total this season at 6.5. I think that's ludicrous. I think that is way too low. Do I think it should be 10.5, 11.5? No. But 6.5, worse than the NFC North by far? I think that's insane. And also, more disrespect was from, if you just look at any NFL media member, when they're ranking their top teams in the NFC North, it is 99% of the time they have the Vikings finishing dead last by far. I think that's insane. I think they're going to be a whole lot better than that. And do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? Hell no. But are they going to be better than 5 wins this upcoming season? You bet you. I definitely think that is the case. So why the Vikings? Why am I, so high on this football team? Why do I think the Vikings are going to be this good? Number one reason, the edge department. The Vikings edge group is absolutely insane. And honestly, I feel like it gets a little disrespected. And you have guys like Dallas Turner, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, these are three, we don't know certainly about Dallas Turner right now, but Jonathan Grenard, he was a stud last season for the Texans. Andrew Van Ginkel, He was incredible. The best Swiss Army knife there is in the NFL. And the Vikings, they lost Danielle Hunter this offseason. Big loss, no doubt about it. But they replaced him with 3 elite edge rushers. And honestly, right now, the Vikings edge department is better than it was last year, even with Danielle Hunter on that team. But let's start out with Van Ginkel. As you know, with him getting an injury in the last game of the year last year with the Miami Dolphins, I think people just kind of forgot about how impactful he was last season. 69 tackles, 6 sacks, 8 PBUs, a touchdown, an interception. And what do we love to say here on the channel? Brian Flores loves his versatile defenders. There might not be any other player that is more versatile than Andrew Van Ginkel in the entire NFL. Maybe it's also Josh Metellus. But, Van Ginkel is definitely up there, as well. PFF graded him out incredibly high this past season. A 91.1 overall grade. A run defense grade of 76.3. One of the highest pass rushing grades in the entire NFL at 90.6. Incredible stuff out of Van Ginkel. But it's not just him. It's also the rookie, Dallas Turner. And he has been absolutely turning heads and looking the part so far throughout the Vikings offseason program. Christian Darrisaw was asked after the first practice with Dallas Turner, just what'd you think of him? And Darrisaw, he said Dallas Turner has a faster spin move than Danielle Hunter. I don't think I would ever hear that out of anybody saying they have a faster spin move than number 99, because obviously we know that was his calling card. That was his go-to move. And the fact that they're already saying Dallas Turner has a faster one than him kind of speaks to his athleticism. And my pro comp for Dallas Turner, the more I watch him, the more I just go back and just randomly will turn on Alabama highlights of him, getting to the quarterback. He reminds me of Von Miller, man. But, we'll obviously have to wait and see if he ends up being that good. But also Jonathan Grenard. You also replaced Danielle Hunter with this guy who was great last season for the Houston Texans. 12.5 sacks, 52 tackles, was that kind of heartbeat of that defense. Still has that, versatility, dropped back into coverage a couple times, gets hands on football since he had 2 PBUs. Obviously not, a whole lot, but, he has that ability. And just, him, being 26 years old, when he's going to be 27, 28, like truly entering his prime, I think Brian Flores is going to get the most out of him. And number 2, why the Vikings this season? The improved run game. Like, it just got to improve, right? Like, it can't be as bad as it's been under Kevin O'Connell. And look at these stats. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The biggest weakness for the Vikings the past couple of years, you can chalk it up to turnovers, injuries, quarterback play, whatever you want. In my opinion, it's the running game. This cannot happen again. If the Vikings average less than 100 rushing yards a game this upcoming season, it will be a bad year, and Vegas would be right about their win total. But 27th in his first year, 29th in his second year under Kevin O'Connell. It's got to improve. And what's the number one way to improve your rushing attack? Adding in an elite running back in Aaron Jones. He was the best running back in the league from week 16 on last season to the divisional round of the playoffs. He still has major juice. Yes, a little older in his NFL tenure, but he is still a fantastic back. And I think a lot of people chalk up, the Vikings' poor run game to their offensive line. I disagree with that. I chalk it up to Dalvin Cook back in 2022, not nearly being the same guy and just being a negative in the run game. Alexander Mattison last year, I thought he was frankly awful at the running back position. He would be a whole lot better, and plus you add in even a guy like Ty Chandler. But my take on this is I think the Vikings can have a top 15 rushing attack, no doubt about it. And if they can do that, they will be a top 5 offense. Like, if you combine a top 15 rushing attack with the weapons you have on the outside, with the coaching staff, like, the Vikings will be one of the best offenses in the National Football League. But my third reason, kind of just teased it, the coaching staff. And I think the Vikings coaching staff has honestly gone underrated in terms of, when we're evaluating coaching staffs as a whole. Colin Cowherd always calls Kevin O'Connell the tall Sean McVay. I don't know if I want to give KOC, that praise just yet. But if you take like a head coach quarterback combo and you just look at the combination of Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, like, it is truly one of the best head coach coordinator combos we have in the entire NFL. Like, you got guys like, obviously, Andy Reid and Spags, they're number one, no doubt about it. Like, don't even need to argue that. But, Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, like, they're up there. They are on a short list of the top, like, if you have a defensive-minded head coach and their offensive coordinator. Obviously, the Vikings offensive-minded head coach, defensive coordinator. The Vikings are on a short list of some of the top in the league. And I do want to talk about Kevin O'Connell here real bit. real quick. I'm not saying he's on the hot seat, but I think this is one of the biggest years for a head coach in the NFL. And, I don't think if the Vikings really struggle this season, like he will be out the door. I think he's on the same timeline as J.J. McCarthy. He'll be here for the next couple of years. But we will know who Kevin O'Connell is as a head coach after this season. We'll know if he's a top 5 guy. We'll know if he's a top 10 guy. Or we'll know if he's, maybe a little bit of a fraud. Maybe he, took advantage of all those one-score victories and kind of warped our perception of him, dating back to that 2022 season. But I promise you, we'll have a clear answer on who he is after this season. But you guys let me know right now, as it stands, Kevin O'Connell is the blank best coach in the NFL. I'd probably go, off the top of my head, I'd probably go 10th. I'll just say he's just outside the top, or just inside the top 10. So I'll go 10th on that one. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. Now, also, the Vikings, I think they have some players that are going to break out this season. And I'll probably do a full video breaking this down, more in depth here. But I just wanted to go over quickly over 5 guys who I really do, think could break out. You got Jordan Addison, number 1. What he did last season for the Vikings, under guys, or with catching the ball from guys like Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins, like he was still able to be incredibly productive. He looked the part, and even Alec Lewis, who was at Vikings minicamp, just said he looks even better. He looks like he took a huge jump from years 1 to years 2. In my opinion, I think we'll be looking at Addison as one of the best wide receiver 2s in the entire league after this season. Also, Ed Ingram. This is kind of wishful thinking by me, but I think Ed Ingram's a guy where if he takes that step, the offensive line, you're looking at it a whole lot differently, where you got 4 guys there that you fully trust rolling out there every single weekend. Mekhi Blackman, 3rd-round pick last year out of USC. He was a perfect scheme fit for Brian Flores, and he was great last season. Can he take that next step? Can he be a true top 15 cornerback in the league? If he does that, then the Vikings are definitely going to win more than 6.5 games. Talked about Jonathan Grenard already a little bit, and then you got Ivan Pace Jr. I think Ivan Pace is going to be a Pro Bowler this year, and, he's wearing the green dot. Kevin O'Connell's been raving about him. Brian Flores has been raving about him. But those are 5 guys who I think could really, really, take the next step. And, 5th, I talked about this on a video a while ago, just Justin Jefferson and just, his impact and, why I do think he is, almost gone underrated. I know this is ludicrous, and I know a lot of people will be, turning their eye at this and being like, what are you talking about? He's the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. I think Justin Jefferson has gone underrated. And I will say this right now. He is the most underrated player in the NFL. People just throw him into as he's the best wide receiver in the league. And I don't think that's enough credit for what he has done. You go back and you watch that 2022 season when he was fully healthy. I have not seen a non-quarterback since Adrian Peterson back in 2012 put a team on their back the way number 18 did in that season. So this sounds ludicrous. I understand. How could the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL be considered underrated? I still don't think people consider him, a top 10 player in the NFL because of all the, the leeway we give to the quarterback position. After this year, we're going to be talking about Justin Jefferson up there with like the Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen category as a true top 5 player in the league. Wishful thinking by me. Maybe I've been drinking too much purple Kool-Aid, but I absolutely love number 18. I think he's going to remind a lot of people this upcoming year. But speaking about this upcoming year, Vegas has it. 6.5 wins for the Minnesota Vikings. I want you guys to get down in the comments and predict the Vikings record in 2024 for me. I got them going 10-7. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments section. If you guys want more Vikings content, that's the Twitter, @PatSieps. Give me a follow over there. I would really appreciate it. And I'll give you guys a follow back, no doubt about it. So if you guys could, link for that in the comment section and description of today's show. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Skol Vikes. All right, he's still in the Super Chat battle with the Bears Now show. If you guys want to support the show, get your question up on screen. Sending in a Super Chat is the best way to do so. But Ignite Edix saying 9-8. EV going a tie. I like that. 10-6-1. Joey Tana going 11-6. Eric Lapointe going 11-6 as well. I love the optimism out of you Vikings fans. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 10-7. I'm going to stick with 10-7 as my, final prediction for this team. But hey, Super Chat, if you guys want to get up on the show. Also, we're going to be having J.J. McCarthy's high school coach on the program over the next couple of weeks. So if you guys want to ask him a question, I set it $20 Super Chat. you guys, if I approve of it, we'll get your question up there, and you guys can ask him whatever he thinks about J.J. McCarthy. But also, we're going to be getting into a mailbag right now. So hashtag Vikings in the chat. If you guys could, Eric, ask a question. Joe Knox, ask a question. EV, Ignites, Joey, all you guys, Randy, Riley, Rocky, Tommy, Eric, all of you guys. If you guys could ask a question, I'd appreciate it. As Eric will point saying, Mr. Pat, what makes you believe in Sam Darnold to be the player you say you will for the Vikings this season? For a number of reasons. I think this is going to be his best chance to succeed that he's had in the NFL. He's only 26 years old, and, I think he has shown his talent in the league. But what's always held him back is the turnovers. Like, if you guys remember, like, the whole seeing ghosts meme, now, like, when anytime a quarterback has a multiple interception game, like they say he was seeing ghosts, that stemmed from Sam Darnold versus the New England Patriots, where they absolutely ate him alive. But, I just think with, with Kevin O'Connell and just the weapons the Vikings have, like, we're going to see the best version of Sam Darnold. And I don't think anybody knows how good that is. Like, if people are just like, oh, Sam Darnold is guaranteed, this. Like, or Sam Darnold is this. I just disagree with that. I don't think anybody knows. I don't know. Maybe he is not as good as I think. But I think we'll find out this season because the Vikings will offer, the ability to get that answer from Sam Darnold. But we're getting in a mailbag right now. Hashtag Vikings. Get those questions in there. I would really appreciate it. Could the Vikings be cutting Lewis Cine from the final 53-man roster? Yes, former first-round pick Lewis Cine. Could he be getting cut? We'll dive into that as it's looking more likely than not that actually Lewis will not be making this team. And then also second half of today's show, my favorite part of what we do here at Chat Sports. We answer questions straight from you guys as a part of a mailbag that we do on our weekly live show. So that's coming up in just a second. But before that, guys, our bosses actually challenged us before we hopped in the studio today. He said, I want to see how many SKOL comments you get. And then I said, how many SKOL comments you want? They said 200. So if you guys could help me out, give me the SKOLs down in the chat. I want this comment section to look like U.S. Bank Stadium on game day. Spam it. Type it as many times as you want. And I'll show you guys some love down below and help me avoid a little awkward meeting with my bosses. I would really appreciate it. So let's break it down. Are the Vikings cutting Lewis Cine? As Lewis Cine is, I don't want to say I was completely wrong about him, but I absolutely loved him coming out of Georgia. Hard-hitting safety, can play in the box, can play in the deep halves. Like, he really could do it all. He just hasn't had a chance to do so in the NFL, and he's really, I think the stat is he only has gotten 11 defensive snaps in regular season games for the Minnesota Vikings. So we really don't even know who he is as a player. But why he could not be making this roster is he's fighting an uphill battle. And, Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, they're all making the team. But then you got Theo Jackson. Then you got Jay Ward. And then we'll actually talk about Najee Thompson here in a little bit, but he might be in the safety department. Let's just say the Vikings keep 4 or 5 safeties. Lewis Cine is on the outside looking in. I will make this note. The Vikings did keep 6 safeties last year, which was a ridiculous amount. I don't know if they'll do the same this upcoming year. But, the Vikings already have their big 3 of safeties, of Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith, and Josh Metellus. And all 3 of these guys are just frankly fantastic. Like, you talk about Cam Bynum here first, like of this big 3 group that we have for the Vikes. Like, Cam Bynum's, his emergence at the safety position has done wonders for this team. Like, him being drafted as a cornerback, shifting the safety, and then you had the perfect fit for him in Brian Flores being his defensive coordinator. It was great. Josh Metellus, I think if Brian Flores had to pick players that, he likes coaching the most or he thinks is the most valuable, I bet you Josh Metellus is up there on that list. He's probably got guys like Kyle Van Noy, even Andrew Van Ginkel as well on there. But in terms of just versatile football players, he's a great fit. You guys know what Harrison Smith's all about, even at the age, I think he's 36 right now, and he is still effective. Obviously, he is not the same, or he's 35. Obviously, he's not the same guy that he once was. No doubt about it. He was one of the best safeties in the league, but he's still a very intelligent player. He can still get it done at the high level, and he's still in the top half of safeties in the league. So they have the big 3 here. And also this, I wouldn't be shocked if this summer, if Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus both get an extension. I understand Metellus did get extended last offseason, but that only goes to 2025. Maybe the Vikings want to get him on the books for a couple more years. And then Cam Bynum, you're going to want to lock this guy up because these two, just the tackle numbers are ridiculous here. Obviously, Flores, he asked his safeties to tackle more than any coordinator by far in the National Football League. But still, Cam Bynum putting 137 tackles. Josh Metellus, 116. Both having some sack production. I mean, the PBU is great. 7 TFLs for Josh Metellus is absolutely ridiculous at the safety spot. And these two, are just fantastic. And they're fantastic fits with what Flo likes to do. And also we got a report. Apparently, Najee Thompson's going to try to switch over to safety. If you guys don't know, Najee Thompson was a UDFA last season for the Vikings. Special teams demon. Like, he is a strict gunner in the league, and he is so good at it that obviously the Vikings gave him a roster spot for the whole year. But apparently, he's going to be playing safety. So if you have Smith, Bynum, Metellus, Ward, Jackson, and now Najee Thompson, even if the Vikings keep 6, I still think Lewis is on the inside or on the outside looking in. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But you guys let me know. Would you cut Lewis? Give me a C for cut or give me a K for keep down in the chat. I'm probably keeping him. It would stink to cut a first-round pick, but there might just not be a spot for Lewis on this roster. Now let's dive into the mailbag, my favorite part of our channel here at Chat Sports. First question coming in from DumDum24 saying, do you think Andrew Booth Jr. will make the team? So this is another high draft pick under Kwesi that may be on the outside looking in. I'm going to say no. I think the Vikings keep 5 corners of Blackman, Griffin, Murphy. You're going to keep Kyrie Jackson. I guess maybe he could. I guess if Najee Thompson's playing safety now, I'll actually switch it. I'll say yes. I actually think Najee Thompson switching positions might dictate who makes and who doesn't make the Vikings roster between Andrew Booth Jr. So I'll probably say yes. Yes, he does. Bobby Wags coming in saying, any chance the Vikings sign Michael Thomas? Yeah, more wide receiver 3 talk here. I'm gonna say no. I don't think Michael Thomas is gonna want to come in here and be a wide receiver 3 for Minnesota. Maybe he will, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but I could see him going to somewhere else. Like, the one team that I keep popping up in my head that I think is gonna sign him is the Los Angeles Chargers. He could go have big time production there. They don't even have a true wide receiver 1 right now on their team. So keep your eyes out on the Chargers signing Michael Thomas. But for the Vikings, I would love if they did it on a super cheap deal, but I just don't know if Michael Thomas wouldn't want to accept that role here in Minnesota. And we got more questions from you guys coming up in a second. But if you guys click this link, chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, we'll get your Vikings J.J. McCarthy jersey today, rocking the number 9. Absolutely love it. I already got mine. I got an all-white jersey. It's awesome. So if you guys want to get one of the hottest jerseys, that will be rocked at US Bank Stadium this offseason. Chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. EV coming in saying, should the Vikings trade for John Mechie? I think it's the 3rd. I'm going to say no. I just don't think the Vikings are in a spot to give up any future draft capital for a position that, wide receiver 3, some people think it's, needed, some people don't. But, in terms of giving up future draft capital, I'm going to say no on that. Loved him coming out. He's got a really cool story, but I just don't think the Vikings are in position to do so. Ignite Edit saying, what would happen if Sam Darnold does terrible? Let's just say first 4 weeks, it is a disaster. Vikings are 0-4. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns, thrown for 10 interceptions, and literally he cannot play. I actually think if that's the situation, I think Nick Mullins gets thrown in to be quarterback before JJ does, and then they roll out and just see what they have with Nick Mullins, give JJ a couple extra weeks to develop. But I actually don't think if it's throughout the first 6 weeks of the year, then it's just JJ's going in there and playing. This is going to be a process. Vikings are going to get be able to take their time with this. So if he's terrible, I think they go Nick Mullins first, and then if he is terrible, JJ will play eventually this season. They're not going to roll Nick Mullins out for the rest of the year. I mean, the fan base would absolutely erupt, but yeah, I think they would go Nick Mullins first. Eric Mott saying QB controversy if Sam Darnold balls out. Yeah, so I've been thinking about this, hypothetically. Let's just say Sam Darnold has a Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff resurgence, and he leads the Vikings to the playoffs and they win a playoff game. He will be the quarterback next year. I promise you that. I don't think the Vikings would move off that fast if he is that good, this season. But yeah, Eric, I definitely think there would be a quarterback controversy if Darnold balls out. No doubt about it. That would be a lot of fun to talk about. I feel like this fan base would get split in half if that's the case. But honestly, if that would be a great situation for the Vikings. That would be a great problem to have if Sam Darnold goes and balls out this season. SKOL Nation saying, I'm going to a Vikings game in Giants Stadium. That's awesome for you. Saying, what are some tips on how to avoid crazy Giants fans? Tips to avoid crazy Giants fans. I'm gonna say just don't be talking too much. Don't be talking to or too much smack to anybody bigger than you. But I mean, Giants fans, I don't think they're as crazy as like Philly fans. If you're going to Philadelphia, I tell you not to go there. That's a terrible city, terrible football fan base. But Giants fans who should be good, obviously they're probably going to hit you with the comeback of, oh, we just beat you in the playoffs. Sam Darnold already beat you. So, expect that. But SKOL Nation, have fun. That sounds awesome. EV saying Vikings should trade for Miles Sanders or sign him when he gets released. Interesting thought. Definitely not trading for him, but signing him, I wouldn't hate it. But again, I'm in the camp. I want to be Ty Chandler, Aaron Jones. That's the 1-2 punch I want. And then you got your gadget guy of Kene Nwangwu. So I just don't think the Vikings are making a play at the running back position. I should probably do a video of some guys that could get cut that the Vikings could sign. So keep your eyes out on that one. Riley Sullivan saying, how confident are you with our secondary in specifically the high-flying NFC North? Great question. I personally am not all that. We do compensate with a nasty pass rush. Yeah, okay, so great question. I think it's a great point, Riley. The NFC North is going to have one of, like, if you had to accumulate the 4 teams and just talk about their passing attacks. Like, the NFC North is the best passing division in the entire NFL, and that's even going up against, like, obviously the Chiefs division with, Mahomes and Herbert. I still think there's better passing attacks in this division. And you just think about the receivers. I mean, the Bears now with Rome, Keenan Allen, they still have DJ Moore, like the Lions, Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams. The Packers, in my opinion, have the most underrated receiving group in the entire NFL. So how confident am I? Not that confident. But you saying I'm personally am, but you're saying the pass rush will compensate for it? That's a good point. Hopefully they won't need to hold up for 4 or 5 seconds. Hopefully it's just 2 to 3. And the Turners, the Grenards, the Van Ginkels are really getting home, so the secondary, just give them that, where they're not guarding for 5 seconds on a play. So, Riley, absolutely great question. Loved it. Shout out to you. But if you guys made it to the end, I asked you guys to spam the SKOLs at the beginning of today's show. I want to close today's show. Spam those SKOLs down in the comment section so I know who all the real ones are who, help me out and help me avoid an awkward meeting with my bosses. Give me a SKOL down below in the chat. Also, Twitter right there, @PatSieps. If you want more Vikings content in your life, hit me up over there. And I'll give you guys a follow back. But thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all next time. SKOL Vikes. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for watching today's live program. Dale in the chat. Shout out to you. Joey. Keenek. Tick615. Shout out to you. All the real ones in the chat. Just want to say thank you guys so much for watching today's show. We're going to sign up on out of here. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. See you guys next time. Keep your eyes out. Interview with J.J. McCarthy's high school coach. Hopefully we can get that done, shortly. But see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes.